Welcome everybody to this June edition of Stay Tuned, where we look up the movies that are coming up for this month and let you know about it so you don't have to do the research yourself. But feel free, because it's always good to do your own research. Anyway.
Right, don't
I
trust
am your
us.
yeah, don't trust us. But we're gonna kind of just show you on the map where everything is, but you gotta take the trip yourself. I am your host for this episode, Jose.
I'm your other guy, George.
Let's not waste much time. Let's get
Yeah,
right into it. Here, we're gonna start off with one of our only two TV shows for this month, and a show that's had its own set of online debates and arguments about, and that is The Acolyte coming to Disney
yeah,
Plus on June 4th. For those who don't know, this is a Star Wars property. And we know with anything Star Wars these days, it's always going to be divisive. There's always going to be people on two sides of the line, and this is no different. This stars Carrie Ann Moss, who we know from The Matrix, Daphne Keane, Amanda Stenberg, and Lee Young Ja or Jay.
is it? I
Lee
can't remember
Young
how it's spelled.
is
J-A-I-E.
Jae.
Probably
Jay.
J. I will say J.
Lee Young Jae.
Yeah,
We'll go with that.
yeah,
If we're wrong, you can correct me in there. But just wait until the end because I'm probably going to mispronounce a lot of names. Kind of
yeah.
bunch them together into one post. So a basic premise of this is a former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but discovers that the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. This sounds like the concept sounds like a horror movie if you just take the Star Wars
Right, yeah.
aspect of it. And then correct me if I'm wrong, George. This takes place during the time where Jedi's are in the process of being hunted still.
From what have read on this, I believe this actually might be further back. This is possibly during like Old Republic, High Republic times. So like the Sith aren't really out and about.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
So that might be what they're saying. Someone's hunting because they mentioned hunting the Jedi. So I was like, okay, maybe they'll not Jedi, but could be they are being hunted. They're not aware yet of the Sith and
yeah.
that is doing the hunting. That's your more sinister humors that's out there.
Exactly.
So um, now, George, I know you're disheartened to the point of not wanting to give these
Uh,
projects a chance.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I'm personally not there yet. Not saying there's a lot of things that I have not loved. So not saying I'm on the side of the fence. It's like this is all great. There is a lot of bad. I just haven't gotten disheartened to that point yet. I'm still willing to at least, give these projects a chance but just for the chance of getting another gem, like I got with Andor or I got with early Mandalorian,
Yeah.
before we got into that final season. So we got some duds like, Obi-Wan, Boba Fett. So we've been getting these duds. But for me, it was worth it to at least sift through them to get those couple of gems that I was able to get out of it. So I think I will be giving this a try. The trailer doesn't have anything that got me super excited, but it didn't have anything that turned me off of it either. I'll give it a go. And that Sif at the end of the trailer, it looks pretty cool. But I just wonder if it's gonna end up like one of those things that they like to do where they introduce someone or something that looks cool, but then the payoff of finding out who it is or what it is doesn't quite work out. That seems to be like the Star Wars thing to do over the last
Yeah.
decade or so. So hopefully it ends up being someone cool or if they reveal it, but we'll see. What were your thoughts on this?
I mean, as you kind of put out there, I'm definitely disenchanted when it comes to the Star Wars universe nowadays. I had very mixed feelings because, in my opinion, this is where they should have went from the beginning. Like instead of giving us a new trilogy and all these old stories, go back to the beginning. Go back hundreds of years, centuries, where the Jedi are flourishing, and we can see their presence and what influences they had on the universe, on the galaxy that they reside in. The only thing that sucks now is that they've tarnished so much of the Star Wars that as we go into it now, it's like there's certain things that we're expected to do in a push an agenda kind of way that will ignore whatever good can come from it. And I'm speaking obviously in a grandiose scale of the viewership. Maybe not me and you will feel this way, but overall. So something really good can come out of this, and people might miss out on it because of all that kind of hubbub. One of the things that I didn't like from this is that the costuming at times, or even the set pieces, felt kind of cosplay. Like it didn't feel lived in. One of the things I love about OG Star Wars is that it feels like a lived in world. From the ships to the clothing, everything. Like it's like, yeah, that looks like someone has worn that piece for like
The wear and tear.
decades. Yeah. Even the Jedi's garbs, like go to the episode 1, 2, and 3. It still felt lived in. While with this, it's too clean at times. It feels like they maybe went to Joanne's fabrics and just pieced it together. It's little things like that kind of upset me, and it's just disappointing. But at the same time, like you mentioned that actor whose name we had some trouble with, he's from the Squid Games. He's the main actor from that.
Mhm.
And it's like, he's going to bring something possibly really special to this, and I'd love to see his performance. Carrie on Moss is no schlump. Like she's always bringing in at 100%, and she's been working with Marvel for a bit, within like the Daredevil world and everything like that. So like, I think she'll do something really cool. At the same time, when I saw her, all I see is Trinity. I
Yeah.
don't see a Jedi. It's almost too on the nose with her. So it's like I don't
She
know.
does one bullet time, turning
Just
it off.
her hand going up, the hand going up. It's like that's it. So it's like I probably will give it a shot. I think I might dip my toe back in just to see, and like I want to be proven wrong. But it's like you said, they're not showing anything too wow yet. It's just kind of there.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, if you dip your toe and it ends up being good, then maybe it can get you to watch Andor. Um, but you made a good point regarding people being disenfranchised as a whole with the property, which can then lead to people actually missing good content that might be there because they're expecting more of the same. Where we just saw that right now with Disney's other property, the Marvel property, they've kind of gotten a lot of fans disenchanted in they don't have that confidence anymore in the product they're gonna put out. So then when they actually put out a good product, aka X-Men 97,
Yeah.
it does not get the viewership that it should be getting. It gets less viewership than She-Hulk, even though the quality, you know, insurmountably over
Oh yeah.
what it was from She-Hulk. But that's part of kind of where a lot of the fan bases they don't have the trust to put in that commitment, especially when it comes to a TV show. So I can see that hurting this. Unfortunately, for properties like this, where Star Wars is now, where Marvel is now, where DC is now, I feel personally, let me know if you disagree, that they're going to have to put out good stuff that does not do well, that people catch after the fact, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
wait, that actually was good," and they're gonna have to put out a couple of those projects to build up before they get the success, the financial success of some of these projects. I feel that's kind of how it's gonna have to work out for these that have stripped the confidence from their fan base.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's almost like that old school the cult following way of doing things. Granted, no business is ever thinking like, yeah, we're gonna make this really great film, and a cult following is gonna come 20 years later. You know? But that's almost where they're at right now. It's so true because X-Men 97, it's huge. Everyone I've spoken to loves it. I haven't really seen too many bad things said about it, but at the same time, they're not pushing it. If you go to the Marvel page, it's nowhere on there. Like it should be the first thing you see on a Wednesday when it airs, and it's not even there. It's nowhere. Like you have to like look for it to find it. And that's doesn't make any sense on a promotional level. Like why aren't you pushing the thing you just made right now? Hopefully they don't do that for this one also.
Well, we will see. I'm never gonna say no to a good Star Wars project, so I hope it's good because we benefit from that. At least the ones that are gonna watch will benefit from it if it's good.
Yeah.
If it fails again, I don't know where you go from here. You're gonna have to start reevaluating even more.
Yeah.
Going to the movie side of things, we have our first movie of the month. It's the only really big movie that's coming out that first weekend, so they kind of have it to themselves, and that is Bad Boys Ride or Die on
Yeah.
June 7th. This is directed by Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah. They did Bad Boys for Life, the
Yeah,
one right before this one. Stars, of course, Will Smith, Martin Lawrence. I think now Vanessa Hudgens is going in there.
yeah.
The premise of this is the captain is the late captain. It ends up getting linked to drug cartels. And it appears that Marcus and Mike Lowry need to go rogue to clear his name. I'll be honest, you can't have an action police franchise without the obligatory movie where they have to go rogue and are on the opposite side of the law.
Yeah.
It's like automatic that you have to include that in there. I've been a fan of the Bad Boy movies since I saw the first one in the theaters. For me, they've always been a good blend of action and fun comedy.
Yeah.
Are they the best movies around? No, but they blend those two aspects good enough to just create pure entertainment for me. And the chemistry between Will and Martin is undeniable. Even though Martin appeared to be not at the same energy level in the last one that he used to, kind of getting back into the game, he seemed a little rusty.
Yeah.
But I felt the last one was actually it was a good movie. I was entertained. I liked what I saw from it, and then kind of made me want to see more from them. So I hope they're at least able to execute at the level of the last one or higher. So I'll be there the first weekend. What about you, George?
I mean, yeah, like Bad Boys is right up there with like a Lethal Weapon. To me, that's what it is. It's Black Lethal Weapon, which is something concerning. You
Yeah,
have a black guy in there, but it's not the same. You
it
know what I
is
mean?
true.
Like Danny Glover don't bring that hood kind of feel that
No.
these two have, and I love it. They're such a feel good action comedies. They're the best. Part three, I didn't think I was gonna like when it came out. I was like, I don't know, it's been so long. You guys should just be done. Part two was already kind of pushing it with how over the top certain things felt with like Will Smith and his never needed roll over, jump and roll over everything. I'm just gonna jump and roll over everything. Nothing's happening. What are you jumping for? But you know what? It made it that much more fun. It's like, man, what's he gonna do next? What's Will gonna do next? But three was actually really good. The whole story with him and like his long lost son with this bad lady or whatever. That was cool. And they're coming back. Like he's coming back and his love interest that was a part of the force, she's coming back. So maybe getting to see his story evolve a bit more and not being playa Mike Lowry could be
Yeah.
kind of cool and everything. But it's so true. This storyline gets done so many times. And honestly, it's hard to get sick of it because it is fun. It's fun seeing them in the shit.
I tend to gravitate more towards a good bad guy, like a really good bad guy than a really good guy. If that makes sense. I tend to gravitate
Yeah,
more
yeah.
towards that. So when you have the good guys go rogue, you give me the best of both worlds. All right.
Yeah.
You're giving me towards like the bad guy side, but it's still a good guy. So it's like, all right, I can cheer for the good guy more on this one.
Right.
So
They gotta
I
break out
take
his
it.
son. It's like, oh, that's gonna be sketchy. It's like, good luck clearing
Yeah.
your name, breaking out your son from prison.
Yeah. Uh, so I am looking forward to this one. Maybe this will be the first movie to kind of help Will Smith get things back on track
Yeah.
career wise. After the incident, his career took a big hit, lost some projects, had to, lay low for a little bit, but maybe this will kind of help rev things up again. Going forward. Going back to the TV show world, on the 12th, we have this crime drama thriller called Presumed Innocent. This is starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Renee Rensuv, and Ruth Nega. Oh, that's be careful with that one.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, when I watched the trailer for this one and I saw her name, it's like, I gotta look up how she says her name. Because if we gotta say her name, I'm not messing this up.
it was funny. There was I believe it was a football player. It might have been a college football player or a college basketball player. There was stuff who had the same last name, and you could always hear like the announcers or the sportscasters
Yeah.
being very careful and how they pronounce that family name. Simple concept. It's, Chicago prosecutor's attorney office is kind of upended when one of his own is suspected of a horrible, horrific murder. I mean, not to sound repetitive, but Apple TV has been nailing their TV shows.
Yeah,
I feel like we mention this every month when there's an Apple show coming out,
right.
and it's still going. We both started Dark Matter, which we talked
Yeah,
about last month. I'm enjoying it so far. It's living up to expectations. So it's Apple does it again. And
yeah,
I just finished their other show, Sugar, with Colin Farrell. And I actually really enjoyed that show. So, Apple's on a good streak. They had another crime thriller that was really good called Defending Jacob. And
yeah,
that was with Captain America. And this seems like it may be similar in quality and in that mystery that you got with the other one in the legal proceedings in that aspect, and also led by a strong actor in Jake Gyllenhaal. It seems like you get some elements, kind of some Fatal Attraction elements happening there,
yeah,
and it's gonna be one of those shows where you're you're not fully sure of everyone's intentions and who's really good and who's not. Again, like that Defending Jacob show that's also on Apple TV, it's like it makes you question of like, okay, there there's a lot of gray area. It's not black and white, which as an audience member sometimes it makes it hard in a good way because you can't just latch on to one person and just, champion that person all the way because it's like, okay, wait, they might not be that good themselves either. And I like those type of shows. And this seems like it's going to be that type of show where those lines are going to be blurred between, good and evil. What were your thoughts?
yeah. No, it's true. It definitely got the sense where like the writing for this is not picking favorites, where it's like everyone is gonna have like a light shine on them in a way where it's just like, okay, I see where that person's coming from. Oh no, but I see where this guy is going with this stuff too. Okay, maybe they had a reason for this, so a lot of that. But with Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm usually already kind of interested in whatever project he's doing, just because I really like he takes chances. I feel no two roles are generally the same, especially as of late with his career. He's always trying something different and new, and he really just engulfs himself with characters. Even like watching a trailer for this, there's like a moment in the end where like he's kind of being interrogated, and the way in his face, like you're just left questioning. It's like, did he kill her, or is he honestly surprised that she's dead? Like I can't tell right now. And just from that alone, it's like, well, I gotta watch it. I gotta find out. I want to know like what happened to the girl.
Yeah, he's on the caliber. You can put him, in that group of actors and actresses that their performance is not going to disappoint, regardless of the role. And
Yeah.
regardless of the quality of the movie, they are going to bring it. And he is in that grouping.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say he's up there with like a DiCaprio, but without like people probably just don't see it yet kind of thing, And he kind of
Mhm.
also kind of feels a little bit more grounded, like more relatable to people.
That's true. You think part of that may have something to do with, unlike DiCaprio, he hasn't attached himself to a major director that keeps going to him.
Yeah.
Because DiCaprio, that was a pretty big team up, and that's really where his respectability. Not saying that he wasn't a good actor beforehand, but there's a difference. You can be a really good actor, but not have the respect of the general audiences
Yeah.
as being a A-list actor. And once he started, his team up, that's where his respectability and the hype behind his career really started to shoot up.
Yeah, no, so true for sure. Especially in Hollywood itself, like the Hollywood elites probably looked at him in a different way, where it's just like, all right, he's an it guy because Scorsese said so, because Spielberg said so.
Moving back up to the movies, we have a busy weekend on June 14th where there's three movies coming out during that weekend that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
First, we have Inside Out 2 from Pixar. This is directed by Kelsey Mann, first feature film from what I saw. Stars Maya Hawke, Tony Hale, Amy Poehler, Paul Walter Hauser, who I absolutely love.
yeah,
This guy just kills it in everything, such versatility. This is obviously the sequel to the first In and Out that came out a long time ago. In the first movie, we had, joy, sadness, fear, and disgust.
And
Um,
anger, I believe. Anger's my boy.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes. In anger, and these were the main emotions that were guiding this little girl as she was growing up. For those who haven't seen the first one, that's the general concept. We're kind of in the head of this girl as her emotions are pretty much given like an avatar
Yeah, they kind of
in her head.
control her and guide her through situations.
Exactly, and each emotion is given an avatar so that that they can communicate and they can talk and all of that aspects. So we're gonna get those emotions again because you don't lose those emotions.
Yeah.
But now as this girl's kind of older, new emotions begin to surface, and then in comes anxiety, everyone's favorite. This one's played by Maya Hawke, and that's gonna throw off the internal dynamics of the group that was already in there. You kind of growing up as a kid, you think you finally got it nailed down, which you're a kid. You sure already know you don't have it all nailed down. And here comes anxiety being like, surprise, motherfucker. And there you go. And that's kind of what this movie is going to be based about, is seeing how now with the introduction of this new emotion and probably other new emotions,
Yeah.
how is that going to change the life of this girl and how the other emotions handle the changes to this girl in the dynamic. What were your thoughts on this one?
I mean, this is, I believe, another Pixar,
Hmm.
film. Pixar usually knocks it out of the park. I did like the first In and Out. It was cute and all. Admittedly, I only watched it once though. That's not one I've revisited over and over again. So I probably watched this one once also. But it looks just about as cute. You can see they're gonna go on another adventure inside the whole mind of her emotional spectrum and trying to like get through that all over again. So I imagine we're gonna retread certain story beats that the first one had. 'Cause the first one was really them trying to figure out how to work together. Everyone felt like they deserved to run the show and that was it. But eventually Joy figured out where she belonged and how to like intermingle with the rest of the emotions. So you can see they kind of have to do that all over again with probably five new emotions. But anxiety seems to be like the new Joy, where she's like, "Well, this is my crew. We got this. You guys can go now."
Yeah.
Yeah, And we're definitely gonna have a lot of moments where I think this is good for kids who probably watched the original In and Out, and now are a little older. And there's a lot of relative moments where like you see she's like on a hockey team and there's new friends. It's like, how do you deal with new friends and old friends? Well, I got to become a new person, so I can blend in with this, and I got to say goodbye to my old self. We've all gone through that to some extent or another. So I could see a lot of relatability to that, and that could be really nice for families to watch.
That's a really good point. In a way, the girl in the movie is kind of growing up with those original kids who watched the other one, and it could just time out
Yeah.
perfectly. Or maybe now they're experiencing some of these new emotions. So that's a very good call on that one. It is Pixar. For me, Pixar is like Christopher Nolan. Even the bad movies are still a lot better than a lot of the things that are out there.
Yeah.
And Pixar's they've gained that reputation with me personally at least. So I will check this out. I like the first one. Pixar itself, it does sneak in some heavy themes, some things that people can relate to, and then they always got their hand on those emotional strings that you
Yeah.
have. Like I still remember the imaginary friend aspect of it, and it was like, damn, that's Pixar.
Yeah.
Uh, so I feel we're gonna get more moments like that. I feel Disney has kind of relegated Pixar to the bench since like the pandemic. They haven't really been putting marketing into Pixar's movies. Some of them I don't think they've even released in the theaters. They just put them straight to their platform,
Yeah.
which has been a heavy shame if you have this property, this gold mine in Pixar. And you're not using it to your advantage. It's just been weird how Disney has handled Pixar over the last 3, 4, 5 years. So it's good to see a Pixar movie actually heading to the theaters.
Yeah.
So maybe this is Disney kind of writing the ship and taking advantage. But it's been weird when it comes to Pixar and whatever their motivation is with that.
Yeah. They've actually been re-releasing a lot of the ones that didn't make it to theater during the pandemic in theaters. So like things like Turning Red, Soul, and
Luca?
Luca. Yeah, like all those ended
Luca.
up going back to the theater or finally going to the theater, I should say, later on. But they
Yeah.
probably didn't have the same effect because it's already been on streaming.
Yeah, well, these kids probably already seen them a ton of times.
Yeah,
Hopefully, this rights the ship because Pixar deserves it. They've put on quality for decades
yeah.
now. Coming out that same weekend, we have a horror movie called Watchers. This is directed by Ishana Night Shyamalan. That name might sound
Who could she be
familiar.
related to?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe the producer of the movie, M. Night Shyamalan. So she actually worked as a writer and director on Servant.
Yeah,
This stars Dakota Fanning, Georgina Campbell. The trailer itself is very vague, but the premise of it is a 28-year-old artist gets stranded in an expansive, untouched forest in Western Ireland. This leads to her to be trapped with three other strangers who are being stalked by mysterious creatures everywhere. So there's that concept. The trailer doesn't give away too much. It keeps it vague.
yeah,
I had to consciously try to put my bias aside when I saw the name Shyamalan
yeah,
and kind of try to look at this as face value because that name, when it comes to quality movies, has lost value over the years with reason, but this is not his daughter's fault. She's her own person. It was her movie, so I'm willing to kind of give it a clean slate because who knows, maybe she might have different types of visions or a better way of handling a story than her dad has at times. But I will say this, keeping up with her father's style when it comes to creating intriguing trailers for something. There's something that I give M. Shyamalan movies is that their trailers always pique curiosity.
yeah,
They're always interesting enough, yet vague enough that kind of pulls your attention, and you're like, "Oh, this seems like an interesting concept. I kind of want to see what's going to happen, what's going to talk." Even the bad movies had really good, intriguing trailers. So I don't know if M Night uses the same people to cut his trailers, if he takes a hands-on approach with cutting his trailer, or what the process is. But whatever it is, it works, and it
yeah,
seems to have been handed down to his daughter because this trailer had me very curious and interested as to what's going on in this world. It gives me that it comes at night vibes.
yeah, yeah.
I
Okay.
saw it, but hopefully the payoff is better than that movie because that was heavily disappointing. That one had me invested, and by the end of it, the payoff had me
Yeah,
disappointed.
it's pretty lackluster.
So I think I'll check this out. I don't know if I'll do it at the theater, but it might be immediately when it comes to streaming. But I do want to see this. What about you? What were your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, first thought when I watched this trailer, which I saw like a couple like weeks ago prior, I saw the names and I watching the whole thing through, and I thought to myself, man, this is like the village all over again for Jose, I bet. Because it almost gave me those vibes for some reason. It's like if at the end of
Uh,
all this we find out that it was just like they're doing a Truman Show for people. That's all it really is. He's so pissed off. I
it
was
turns
promised
out
a
it's not
horror
even a
movie.
horror movie.
There was no creatures at all. But besides that, I definitely felt the Shyamalan blueprint. Like if I didn't see her name on there, I would have just believed it was her dad's film because it felt like his beats and everything above it, of how it was shot and the trailer was cut and everything. It looked like a regular typical Shyamalan movie. But that being said, I I like M. Night Shyamalan, golden age M. Night Shyamalan, you know. As you said, as of late, he's very miss as opposed to hit. I did like the Servant show though. I thought that was pretty good. Apple TV. I enjoyed most of it. And she's been working with him since I think the movie Old, just doing little things, in the background as like maybe a PA here or there or whatever, or just an assistant director. And so I think that's helped a lot. She just didn't go straight into it and become, her own thing. I think she did the work, which is important when in this kind of stuff. So I'm like yourself, I'm willing to give her the shot. I think, it could be worthwhile. Plus, it'd be nice to see Dakota Fanning also lead a film. Like she's been doing little things here or there. I feel like she hasn't done a really big thing for a while, where she's like really just leading the project. So a lot of people have something to prove in this one, I think.
I hope it's good. These type of movies have a lot of potential. Hopefully, it pays off because we benefit from it.
Yeah,
never want to cheer for a movie to be bad. I always hope a movie is good because that just means another good movie for me to watch.
right. Especially enigmatic horror films are really cool to me. Where there's like a lot of mystery and things to kind of like figure out. Like I like it when you challenge me in what I gotta do in watching this film. I'm not just here to enjoy. I gotta like pick things apart and figure things out. That's a fun thing for me.
That'd be freaking horror. Village me
Hopefully,
again.
hopefully.
Okay, coming out the same weekend, we have Latency. Directed by James Crow, first feature for James from what I saw, stars Sasha Luss and Alexis Ren. So the concept of this was seemed pretty cool. So you have a gamer who suffers from severe agoraphobia. For those who don't know what that is, it's basically, fear and like avoidance of situations that might cause panic. Usually it's situations outside of their home. So
Yeah,
you'll see a lot of people when they're portrayed in movies that have agoraphobia, they don't want to leave their house at all. Even stepping in the hallway is a lot of work in there and can lead to like a panic attack. So you have a programmer who suffers from that, and then she receives new equipment that enhances her game. From the trailer, it appears to be some kind of Neuralink that creates a form of virtual and like augmented reality or a mixture of both. They don't really get into the details in the trailer what it is, so just kind of what it looks like. Gave me very Black Mirror vibes
yeah,
with
yeah,
the concept of it. Uh, you know, and then as she dives deeper into this new gaming tech, the lines are blurred whether she's in full control or the device is. So it looks like it could be one of those like, mind fuck type movies of what's really happening, what's real, what's in her head aspect. So those concepts they always intrigue me in that aspect. Especially if executed well. I like we watch so many movies that so many times you can kind of see a story developing in your head. You start picking up the clues on who the killer is or who's behind this or how the third act is gonna play out. You watch enough movies, you start picking up enough patterns because there are so many links between movies, so many movies that borrow or follow similar concepts or similar blueprints to other movies that it
yeah.
becomes easy when you see a lot of movies. So when you get movies that kind of blur those lines and have you thinking the entire time of, okay, what is what? I believe this thing, but I'm kind of in the shoes of that character where is what I'm believing really what's happening or is it something else? And I like those movies where you feel as confused as the lead character because then it feels like you're there for the journey. But those concepts come down to execution.
Yeah.
You need the right actors to make it believable. You need the right pacing and presentation of the story to make it believable and really draw you in. Because if your pacing is too slow, you can pull someone out. If your pacing is too fast, you can pull, someone out. So there's a lot of things that have to go right for this to really work. I'm hoping this works out. I'm willing to give it a try because, like I said, when these type of movies hit, they really hit for me. I really enjoy the ride. What were your thoughts on this?
I actually never even heard of this one until you sent it over to me. And at first, watching like the first like 10 seconds of it, I was like, what piece of crap is this? Because of those CG creatures that you see her
Mhm.
dealing with. I was like, this looks like really bad. Like, what B movie do you send me? And then I find out it's like, okay, it's a video game. She's playing some like AR virtual reality thing. Okay, okay. And then it starts developing more, and you find out more about her and what she's dealing with. And as it went through, I think concept wise, seems really intriguing, really cool. The fact that like I said we'll be questioning what is real through this whole thing, and that's what she's questioning. What is real? Part of me, my speculation right now is that none of it's real, and even her getting that device isn't real. I think that her sickness has messed with her so much to the point where like she's just imagining the whole thing. Think kind of like American Psycho or even
Mhm.
like The Secret Window with Johnny Depp, like stuff like that, where it's like not just all in their head, they're just crazy. you
I
know?
really hope that ends up not being it. I can see it possibly happening, but I really hope that ends up not being it.
Yeah. But the
You
concept
know,
is really cool. Like there could be something really good here, honestly.
you know what part of the concept reminded me of the whole like is the technology in control or is the human in control? It reminded me of another movie that came out, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. That kind of went under the radar and it's pretty underrated, but it's actually really good called Upgrade.
Yes, yes, that was actually a really good movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of went under the radar, but it was that similar concept of what's really in control, the technology or the person.
Yeah.
So it's like that, but then you're adding the psychological aspects of not only control, but what is actually reality.
Yeah. Yeah. The cool
So
thing
I'm
would
looking
be
for
is if the tech is doing all this bad stuff to her to help her get over her agoraphobia. That'd be actually really cool. At the very end, like it's like,
yeah,
I helped you.
it's like a therapy tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll check this out. I said James Croak's first feature, so hopefully it gets started the right way and has a banger to begin.
Yeah.
All right, going back to the weekend after that, we have Kinds of Kindness. This is directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who did The Lobster. He did Poor Things, which came out last year, and I know she was Emma Stone was nominated for Best Actress, but was Poor Things not one of the nominees for Best Film?
I believe it was. I
Okay,
think both
yeah,
got and
I
she got
think it
nominated
was
and it
too.
got nominated. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is
Well,
the
it
third
start
time they've worked together because she also did The Favorite with her too.
Yes, yeah. So it starts Emma Stone again, Margaret Qualley, Jesse Plemons, and
Yeah.
Joel Alwyn. There isn't many details on the actual like premise and plot of it. All I was able to see is you've got three stories, so three characters being followed. So one is revolving around the man who tries to take control of his life. Then we have another one, a policeman whose wife seems a little like a different person, I believe, after she almost drowned. And then a woman who searches for someone with a special ability in there. To me, it seems like one of those movies like Crash, where you have these different stories that just kind of end up connected at the end, that we see playing out separately and they all just lead to the same point. Um, so first of all, Jesse Plemons is in it,
Yeah.
so that's already a positive. We already spoke to this before. Usually, when he's attached to a movie, the movie ends up being good. That's just statistical facts.
That's science.
Yeah, that's science at this point. That's not even an argument. Whether he has a big role or not, it just seems to happen.
Yeah.
The trailer, like I said, doesn't give away much plot wise. It seems to be keeping a lot under wraps. For me personally, it's hard for me to get very excited without really having plot details for a movie. And for me personally, this director is batting 50% with me, or batting 500 if we're going to go accurate with the baseball analogy. He's batting 500, 50% success rate with me. So I might wait into his streaming. See, I enjoyed The Lobster. I thought The Lobster was good. I was not a fan of Core Things. There was some good things in there, but as a whole, I did not find the movie enjoyable. I found it more creepy and not in a good way than anything else. So I was not a fan at all of that movie. So for me, this can go either way.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's closer to lobster than it is to poor things, but without knowing a lot of these details, I can't get excited enough to be like, I want to go see this in the theater. It's more like I'll wait until I'm at home in the streaming and I can watch it there comfortably. What were
Yeah.
your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I definitely felt with the trailer on this one, it's banking on names and the success of those names as of thus far. Like I said, Plemons, he's getting celebrated more and more with every piece he does, not just by us, by everyone. Everyone talking about him. There's pieces that you'll find on YouTube now where there's people just talking about him because he's like this star that continuously rises. You know, with Emma Stone on her second Oscar win, Lanthimos has been riding high with all his films. You didn't like Poor Things that much. I actually did like it quite a bit. There are some certain undertones of the storyline which can be unsettling and are very hard to accept, even for myself. But artistically, what he does with his writing and his visuals are top tier. Like he's definitely someone who deserves to be talked about when it comes to like an excellent director like a Nolan. And I think that's what they're truly trying to bank on right now is the fact that he has that kind of momentum going. It would be nice if they gave us just a little bit more, though. You know, there's still people who still aren't like who missed out on poor things because it was too art house. You know, same thing for like The Lobster and The Favorite. When you're too artsy, people aren't going for you as a mainstream person. So I would like a little bit extra, but it definitely gave me almost what's that movie I love so much, Magnolia vibes. You
Mhm.
know, which again is kind of like
Really?
Crash, where like there's these multiple storylines going through. But I like there's not like 10 storylines that I have to follow. It's just three, and that keeps it a little bit more easy to follow. You know, another someone they mentioned, Willem Dafoe's in it also,
Oh,
and,
yes.
and he's
Again.
always entertaining. He's I think you only see him for like 2, 3 seconds in the trailer too,
Yeah.
but it's just enough. Like you see his face, and you're like, he's gonna do something. he's
Yeah.
he's gonna do something, and it's gonna make me happy.
I was watching the trailer, because just right, watching Civil War like a month ago, and I just a picture like Jesse Plemons there, like, oh, I'm Latimos. He's just like, yeah, what kind of Latimos are you? The lobster or poor things? It's two different things for me.
Yeah.
All right, well, coming out that same weekend, we have The Bikeriders. This is directed by Jeff Nichols, the same person who did Mud, which was a big movie for Matthew McConaughey. It stars Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, Norman Reedus, Michael Shannon. It's got a good cast.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. It follows a Midwestern motorcycle club that evolves from just like a gathering place for like local outsiders to this like violent, sinister gang after that. So the premise itself caught my attention. Then the second thing that really caught my attention was the cast. It has a great cast with,
Yeah.
Tom Hardy and Michael Shannon already, top notch acting right there. And then you have what many are considering a future eight-lister star in Austin Butler, who, I finally saw in a role when I saw Dune 2. I know we talked about in the previous episode. I
Yeah.
hadn't seen any of his other work because or what I did see him and I completely forgot about him and I had no interest in Elvis. But he did really good in that movie. So it's like, okay, I can see it now. I can see why
Yeah.
there's hype behind you. And in this trailer, from what I saw from him, I'm like, okay, good. I like it. And you don't sound like Elvis. You must have gotten rid of the accent. Good. But this, George, this looks good.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Sons of Anarchy, and this gave
Same,
me that
exactly.
feeling.
Yes.
That gave me that
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy feeling that I was just like, oh, okay. This looks like it has the potential just to be a really good suspense drama with some really strong performances. You know, and maybe it's just me. I am so glad that Venom is coming to an end, so so Tom Hardy can get more roles
Uh,
like this and
yeah.
stop making that terrible franchise we have there. This is the Tom Hardy that we need
Yeah.
in this role, and just for that trailer alone, just a little bit that we saw from him, I'm like, he's killing it. That's it. I know he
Yep.
killed this performance. So, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, no, it's true. Like when I saw this, it brought me back to you watch movie Legend or Legends, I think it was with Tom Hardy, who
Yes,
plays the
yes,
twins. That's
yep.
what I felt all over again. His whole like demeanor and everything. Like you can see he's like this tough, badass leader, but at the same time, he's just so nonchalant about it. There's just this effortlessness to like how he just comes into a role like this. And I love it so much. Like I
Wh-
felt like almost
What
it's
about the
like you
bar?
burn it. Like his voices, like I love his voices. Like they're the kind of voices like after I watch them in a movie, I want to do them. That's how you know it's really good. Like when you want to start talking like that person. Like I'm gonna know my wife. I know we're gonna watch this, and I'm gonna annoy the crap out of her just talking like Tom Hardy. Just like when I watched The Dark Knight Rises. Like I just talk like Tom Hardy for like a month. But no, this looks like really cool, really dramatic. Jodie Comer's in it also, and I think she's really wonderful. She's been in some great things like Killing Eve, I think it's called.
Mm.
And she was also in that other movie, Last Duel, Matt Damon and Ben
Oh,
Affleck. Yeah,
right.
Adam Driver and Matt Damon had to fight because there was supposedly an affair between one of them and
Okay.
Jodie Comer's
So it is the
character.
movie
Yeah,
I was thinking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. Like she's excellent. Like she's honestly who I wanted as Sue Storm as the Invisible Woman and Fantastic Four, but Vanessa Kirby's good too, so I'm not too upset. But no, Jodie Comer is amazing, and like seeing her in this again, she's another person who just envelops a character so well.
Yeah, I will be there that first weekend to watch this one for sure. All right, moving on to our last movie of the month. On June 28th, we have A Quiet Place Day One. This is directed by Michael Sonarski. Has another movie that I really enjoyed in Pig with Nicolas Cage. So this stars Joseph Quinn, Digimon Hanzu, and Lupita. Lupita's in it. So good cast off the start. Lupita is in also in that category that she's gonna kill her performance.
Yeah,
And when has Digimon really not entertained you in one of his roles?
yeah. None of them hold back when they're in a film.
So this is a prequel to the Quiet Place series, where we kind of see a bigger, you know, depth of what happened that first day of the invasion. So that's basically the premise. It just like the title says, day one. So we got a glimpse of the initial panic and chaos of the invasion in the first movie, but it was just that, a glimpse, a real quick overview, and then boom, we jumped to the future after everything went down and the new status quo of that world. But I know personally, I have an interest in seeing more of that initial mayhem aspect of it. This looks like it's going to be a little more action packed than what we got from the main series, which makes sense because this is now a world where people haven't learned how these aliens work. They don't know the rules of the world yet at this point, or how to avoid them or anything. So aliens crashing down to Earth. What is everyone going to do? Run, scream, panic, yell at the top of their lungs.
And die.
Basically, yeah, ring the dinner bell. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Everyone's first reaction is ring the dinner bell, come and eat me. So they're still learning and they're making mistakes. And I am all about being there as a viewer and watching all these mistakes happen on that day one. So I'm looking forward to it. I know John Krasinski is also besides producing, I believe he's also co-writing it with Michael Snarski, which is good. So he's been a big part of creating this world. So it's good that even with the spinoff, he still has a large hand in it
Yeah.
since he knows the world so well. So I'll be watching this. Definitely want to see it that first weekend. I like the Quiet Place uh, franchise. I mean, this is it's a spinoff, but it's technically the third movie in
Yeah.
it. So what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, we've talked about this one before, I think in one of our Super Bowl trailer reacts
Yeah,
things. So I'm still very interested in it. I think the more I've seen for it, because now we have like the last trailer that finally came out, and we've got to see a lot more of it. There's more talking now because we're finding out that they don't know the whole thing of what's going on. And I'm more curious to see how it all plays out. I think now I'm at a place of also realizing what this is in the sense of like comparison to other movies. I think back to the movie Aliens. So like Alien 1, which is think of as like that silent, slow burn horror. That's what A Quiet Place is. But then you got Aliens with all the action. The cool xenomorphs are still there, but now the action's there. That's what this is gonna be, I think. This is gonna be Aliens for us, where the things are still scary and cool, but it's just action packed, nonstop. We're on the run. We're just like we need a moment to breathe, but we're not gonna get it because every corner there's a new freaking monster, and there's just a plethora of them just bombarding the city. And I think that's gonna be actually kind of cool. The more I actually really think about what's gonna come from this. And plus, like I said
yeah.
before, no survivors. I'm all for it.
Yeah. When you put it that way, that gets me a little more excited about it. That if this can be the aliens to the first one, hopefully that doesn't mean that the next one is going to be our Prometheus aspect of it,
Ugh,
because
let's not
yeah,
think of
that would yeah. Yeah.
that.
I don't need to know these aliens' philosophical thought processes, and that we somehow were involved in the creation of them. So don't need to know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but overall, with the movies that we talked about and the TV shows, what are the top two that you are looking forward to for this upcoming month?
Oh, definitely Bike Riders for sure. Like I gotta watch that. I think for the other ones, oh man. I think I'm kind of equal on most other things, but I think that's the one I really, really want to see. Like in theaters at least. Like the one I'm not gonna wait for streaming. I need to
Oh
watch
yeah.
this in theaters,
This question is just theater itself. Which one
Yeah.
do you want to be parked there first
Yeah,
weekend?
I gotta see that. It'd probably be A Quiet Place because I saw the other two in the theater also. And if you get me in the theaters twice and you haven't disappointed me, then there's a good chance you're getting me a third time.
That is a good point. Ooh, this was tough for me because the Bikeriders for sure.
Yeah.
That's probably the one I feel is going to be the best movie of the month. Has the potential to be the best movie of the month. But I'm gonna have to go Bad Boys as my number two over The Quiet Place,
Yeah. Yeah.
just because it's always been one of my favorite action comedy movies. So gotta continue the ride. I'm gonna ride or
Ride
die
or die.
for that movie.
Yeah.
Because it's Bad Boys for Life.
Yeah.
Those are some of the big movies and TV shows that are coming to all of us in June, both theaters and those streaming platforms that we mentioned. If there's any ones, there's no way we can mention all of them here. We're going to be here for like 2 or 3 hours
Right.
for some of those other movies. So, if there's anything else that you think we should look into, anything that has a potential, if you agree or disagree with some of our thoughts on these movies, make sure to let us know down below in the comments, and we'll be looking out for that. Besides that, make sure that you tune in next month as we bring you another Stay Tuned for the month of July, where we do the research and we look into what's coming out so that you don't have to. I've been your host for this episode, Jose.
I'm your other guy, George.
And thank you for joining us. Make sure to like and subscribe. And you can follow us both on Instagram, Twitter X, or Twitter X, whatever it is that you want to
Yeah.
call it, at Not a Strong Start.